Hello, dear friends. Here we are. Another day, another series. 21 days of spiritual awakening. And you're welcome to join us in this very journey because the times on the earth invite us for deeper awakening. Why is this needed, right? You may be asking, why is this needed? Well, it's needed because we are here invited by the loving and kind spiritual friends, the ones who love us very much and who would like us to not forget why we're here. We're incarnated. You know it. I know it. What is the big deal? The big deal is that we're here temporarily. We're not here forever. We're not here for immortality. This physical life is passing. It is short, very short. 100 years go by like that. And what have we done? Oh, I've built a family, I have a car and a job and this and the other. Is this enough? No. It's not about what we do, but how we do it. How do we achieve it? By creating bridges or by creating walls? By showing to others that we're the best or by being the best of ourselves? What is the option, right? So here we are, 21 days of spiritual awakening. It's an opportunity for us to really refine, sculpt the good, seeking the good as we speak. It's the gym of the 11th hour, and you're invited to join us as we're here together. It's another opportunity to coach our minds to the good. When we were recently in North Carolina at the Charlotte Christian Spiritist Center in a beautiful event with friends from all around other states, Mentor Joseph was telling all of us, we all want to build a better world, a world where the good prevails. The question is, how often do we visualize the good? How often do we feel the good? How often do we actually seek the good in spite of the circumstances? And how often do we actually mold this good in our daily lives? How are we going to achieve this collective good if we do not visualize it every day, all the time? The world is a creation of our minds. We need to build it first in our feelings, in our thoughts, and then in words and actions. This 11 hour is the opportunity for us to build this better world. Today at the Spiritist Society of Virginia, we were talking about the importance of all of this, and we were joking with one another. The ultimate frontier for us at Kardec Radio would be to interview somebody from Jupiter, an alien, and say, please, dear friend and brother from Jupiter or sister, tell us, how is it to feel the good all the time, to visualize the good all the time? Tell us more. How is it? And I bet they're gonna say, it feels like this, Vanessa. It feels like this, friends. You are at 11 p.m. and you are still going and you're still working out the muscles of your soul. That's what it is. Seek the good. Seeking the good. The body wants to sleep, but you know, the body is feeling the joy of these moments as well. So before we begin this new series, 21 Days to a Spiritual Awakening, we are going to say hi to our community. I know Karen Mark Smith are here with us, connected. Thank you, Karen Mark, for checking the Kardec Radio app. By the way, the 24-hour programming is completed thanks to beautiful Lea Severo and the help of Nene Bravieira. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is just the beginning of a beautiful journey. Thank you, thank you. And the other ones who are here. My dear friend Valéria Benfica, the ambassador, the Spiritist ambassador in Brazil. Hello, my friend Lea Severo, how are you? Rihanna, how is everything, Rihanna? Friends, we have an ongoing campaign that finishes like in a month. More and more books you send, the better it is. We are collecting Spiritist books written in English to send to the Spiritist group in Rihanna City in South Africa. You're welcome to join us. All you need to do is go to kardecradio.com, see the flyer, the address, where to send it, and the donation. If you want to make a monetary donation, we're going to turn it everything to books. Okay? Thank you. Hello, Sol. How are you? And Felipe. How are you, Felipe? Soraya Galvão. Thank you for joining us. I'm happy to see you here. Andrea Torres. Beautiful Andrea. Hardworking mother. Lisa Teles. How are you, Lisa? Thank you for joining us. Ceissa, missed you. Ceissa, how are you? Adilson, the bridge of the tri-state. There are so many bridges there, but Adilson is the bridge, right? Karina, how are you? I hope all's well. Studying, right? Hard, yes. Danny, my dear cousin Danny, how are you? Thank you, Valéria, for your kindness. And I know there are more friends and people watching us, being with us here, Kardec Radio, and the app as well. And remember, if you're watching us on demand, you can always send us questions, on demand. And if you have any particular question regarding some other topic, don't refrain from asking us. You can send a message through here, Kardec Radio, or through kardecradio.com, the contact form, and we're going to reply to you. What are we doing here tonight? 21 Days to Awakening? Based on what? Based on a new diet. What? Diet, Vanessa? We're already in June. You're talking about diet that's supposed to be only New Year's resolution or revolution. Resolution? No, it's a spiritual diet for us to be slimmer spiritually. No, it's much more than that. It's about attunement. We're studying today the book Voltei in Portuguese, in English, being translated as we speak, by Carlos Dias, Shane Martin, and Evelyn from Richmond. And they are doing beautiful work, providing us with resources to be here with you. This book, possibly titled I Am Back, is from the spirit author, Brother Jacob. Okay? Voltei, Irmão Jacó, I Am Back, Brother Jacob, through the psychography of Chico Xavier. A very thin book, but life-changing. A transformative book. It talks about his very transition. The man, you want to see his face? Yeah, I'm going to make some changes here so you see The face of the man. He is much younger now in the spiritual realm, but you see his face right now. Look at this. This is Fred Figner, brother Jacob, okay? Frederico Figner, okay? And we're gonna be studying right here when he came to a mediumistic meeting, and this is him, okay, right here in spirit form with his instructor Andrade Emmanuel Chico Xavier in a mediumistic meeting. All right? So this is what we're talking about today. This book that has been changing lives. A book that has changed many lives. The book was published in 1948. Brother Jacob, presently known as the narrator of the book, is Frederick Figner. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you. So, he was born Frederico Figner in 1866. The last third of the 19th century. Remember, Spiritism was first published in 1857. He was born 9 years after Spiritism published, Kardec published the Spirit's book. He discarnated in 1947. And he was not Brazilian. Fred Figner was actually Jewish descendant, born in the Czech Republic and settled in Brazil. He actually traveled to the United States before traveling to Brazil. And when he traveled to Brazil, he brought in with him the phonograph invented by Thomas Edison. And he established in Brazil what we call the first Brazilian musical recording company, Casa Edison, and Odeon, pioneer factory of national long plays. Okay? According to the friends of Fred Figner, he became a spiritist. And he became so engaged that he was one of the directors of this Brazilian Spiritist Federation. And he was really a man who worked hard to help people, etc. So, picture this. He became a spiritist, but he was financially doing quite wealthy, though he was an immigrant. And I say this because many people think that all the spirits are Brazilians. No, but he was not from Brazil. But he became quite influential in Brazil. And he became a spiritist, helping many people, participating in mediumistic meetings, like probably you and I. Going to the centers, going to the meetings, participating. And he thought, this is Brother Jacob or Fred Figner, he thought that the passage to the beyond was a piece of cake because he thought he was doing quite well. But to his surprise, he was so surprised that actually it didn't happen, to the point that he says, do not believe that you're being discharged by the law, accomplishing little duties of human solidarity. The problem is if we do nothing. But Brother Jacob, according to the description, he used to be a benefactor, not only financially, but giving of his time and energy, working in the spiritist center in the Spiritist Federation in Brazil. And he thought he was a man of the good, that he would discarnate easily, and he would certainly have light of his own. Surprise, surprise, he writes the preface of the book. This is quite interesting. Hello, Rita Araújo, how are you? He writes the preface by saying the following, and I want to quote several passages here as much as possible to make sure that we learn from him, because what he's providing here to us is something that is unprecedented in the English language. I don't think, because we are still translating the book is not available yet to people who want to study it in English, okay? So here's an opportunity for all of us to meditate on our own. It's not enough to know this. It's important that we feel it. Feel it. While in the body, he says, we do not have the exact idea of what the reality is beyond death. Even when Spiritism helps us to think seriously about the matter, we will try to calculate it for the future after death. The sublime or terrible pictures in the external plane correspond in some way to our expectation. However, the inner, the moral phenomena within us are always strong and unexpected. Before the passage, everything seemed infinitely simple to me. Wouldn't death be a mere liberation of the spirit and nothing more? Our soul would proceed to the spheres of judgment from which we would reincarnate if we did not transfer to the happy worlds. I understand today that accepting this formula would be the same as impair human existence, declaring the man will only be reborn on earth, will breathe among the creatures and will, and then free himself from the body of low fluidic condensation. Now he's going to ask a question for you and I. How many conflicts, however, between the beginning of our lives and the disintegration of the physical body? How many lessons between childhood and the decline of physical forces? Pause. According to the Spiritist science, everything we feel, we think, we do and we say is stored in our spiritual body. Everything. Minimal details. We are vibrating beings. We register these bits of information, emotional information, cognitive information, everything. When we discarnate, it's like when you have to change a computer. You have to pull out all the files from that computer to a hard drive to transfer to another computer. That upload is when you do the life review. And what if the life review were today? Would you regret anything? Would you, and I say this asking to myself, my friends, what would we prioritize today if we were asked about our life review? What would you do? Good question. He says, I believed that the end of the body limitations would bring peace to my heart. But it was not quite like that. Let's observe, this man was no ordinary person. In the sense, he was really making efforts, helping people, and yet he found obstacles. What sort of obstacles? We want to know. We need to know. Thank you for letting us know. So he says, in truth, in our religious organizations, we're kind of fighters ready to battle at distance from our home. And when we judge of possession the final victory, we return to the domestic circle to face individually the same war in the house. When we're dressed by the flesh in order to fight and learn, we often absorb the disenchantment of defeat. In many occasions, we felt triumphant. We are then children of the distracted mob, companions of 1,000 companions, co-workers of 1,000 co-workers. So here's the expression, distraction. Okay, let's say this is your reincarnatory plan in this life. A, B, C, D, okay? What is distracting us from fulfilling this, our spiritual contract in this life? What is it? You have a contract, a spiritual contract that we signed before coming here. We committed. And what are we doing? Distracted. There are so many distractions nowadays. How can we minimize these distractions? Kardec actually asked this question in a spirit's book. And when he asked the spirits, they said, well, learn more about this reality and you'll be less distracted. That's why we're here at 11 p.m. Since November 12th, we've been here every day except to a few days that we had to skip to prepare for the studies. But it's been 6 months. It's not much, but it's an opportunity for us every day to reflect because the times are critical. Critical times. Right? What am I doing with the time that was granted to me? Am I using it wisely for the benefit of others? Questions 893, 894 of the Spirit's Book by Kardec. Kardec is asking the spirits about the most meritorious virtue of all. And the spirits answer, resisting the wrong is meritorious in itself, but the most meritorious of all is to forget your own needs and assist others who are in greater need. I remember talking to our friend George Godinho Neri last year, quite like a year from now ago he was here. And I was saying, you know, Godinho, he's the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. And I was saying, you know, we have this saying that when you are in the airplane, you need to use the mask before you put on somebody else. But you know, spiritually speaking, doesn't make sense. Because the mask need to go to those who are suffering the most. Not to me. I still have some oxygen, but they have no oxygen whatsoever. And if I have that mask, I need to give to that person. That's the most meritorious virtue of all. that I need to think. The Spirit say, question and answer 893 of the Spirit's book. Forget about your needs and prioritize the needs of others. That's called altruism. That's precisely the idea. Often we need more than we have, than we actually need. We think we need more than we actually need. But there are people who need more than we do what we think we need. So it's time to say, enough. I don't need as much. I don't need as much for myself. I actually need to think more of those who are suffering more than I am. But I would love to sleep more. I would love to, take greater care of my body. I would love... we've never heard of Jesus preaching that. Have you ever heard Jesus saying anything close to put a mask on you before you put a mask on others? No. In the book Jesus in the Home, by the Spirit near Lucio, there's a beautiful passage. 2 elderly men walking in the desert, traveling, and then they find an almost dead child in the middle of the desert. One of the elderly men looks at the child and says, "You know what? This child is almost dead, and I'm too old. I can't stop my journey to help. I have no condition whatsoever." And the other one said, "You know what? She's still alive. I know I'm old, but I don't feel like leaving her here. Go ahead. Go before us. I'm going to carry this child wherever we go." And through spending time in the desert, okay, the one that was held back by the child, holding the child, finally got to an inn, like a little hotel. When he got there, the child was still breathing and actually was revived. And he asked the receptionist or the owner of the inn, "We just came from that direction and my friend came before us. Do you have an account if he's here?" And actually, the man of the inn, the owner, said, "Unfortunately, he didn't survive. It was too cold during the night. They found him dead on his way here." And that's when Jesus explains that the minute the elderly man held the child against his chest, he was protected from the cold and giving protection to the child, and with that he survived the cold nights of the desert. Jesus tells us about helping others unconditionally. He never said, "Help when you can." He said, "Help always." He didn't say, "Put your mask first." He says, even if you don't have a mask, think you have more oxygen in your lungs than other people who have zero oxygen in their lungs. Right? Hello, Leo. How are you? Hello, Celia. How are you? Thank you, Adilson. It's easy to interpret this teaching based on our filters and miss the clear and safe guidance. Exactly. So, our dear friend, Brother Jacob, is reminding us of that he thought he was doing great. But when he discarnated, as a spiritist, he realized he missed a few boats. Can we see what it is? Distractions, friend. What is distracting you? Top 3, What are the top 3 distractions in your life? Okay? However, he says, the time has come when the death brings us back to the intimacy of our inner self. And if on our part there was no concern to build a sanctuary for the divine determinations, how many days did we spend on cleansing, readjustment, and enlightening? Right here we could stop and spend days. Because he's saying, we need to build an inner sanctuary of divine determinations. What is it? The safe haven within us? Yes. How do we build it? Should we buy it at Home Depot and do it ourselves? We should do it ourselves, but Home Depot doesn't have it. And Lowe's doesn't have it. Who has it? We do. The resources are inside of us. Because it's a divine, it's a sanctuary for the divine determinations. So it's like you create this safe haven to follow the guidance of God. The feeling is that of Stephen in the book Paul and Stephen. And I have here with me, right here, in this book, Paul and Stephen by Emmanuel. We studied it last November. And here we have the beautiful 3 first chapters. When Jeziel, facing the most difficult things, he recalls that God is always merciful. That when we are sick, God is correcting us through the body. And in the distress of the soul, God is enlightening the heart. Jeziel shows to us that he had this sanctuary inside of him. God is his Lord. And we're going to remind ourselves again, friends. God is everything. I know it's this G-O-D word sounds so vulgar, right? Like, doesn't mean much nowadays. If you're in a business meeting and you say God, people look at you with big eyes like, oh. But if you say the F word, they're like, oh, well. You see how the values are reversed nowadays? But God is God. There's a child song that we received at the Spirit Side of Baltimore. G-O-D, God is here. Here, in the heart, in the mind, everywhere. G-O-D, God is everywhere. So, you want to test where you are in terms of building the sanctuary for God's determinations? Take a, let's say this is a thermometer, okay, a pink one. Thermometer, put it in your heart and ask, everywhere you go, where is God here? When you're at work, where is God here? When you are having sex, where is God here? Don't say, Vanessa, don't talk about it. No, we talk about it. When you're having sex, where is God there? Literally, God must be there. But do you feel it? No, Vanessa, if I feel it, I lose it. No, no, no. When we really feel God, it goes up. But that's when we have the inner sanctuary. for God's determinations. When you have to go and make a tough decision, where is God there? When you need to go to work, when you need to go home and help your family and do your chores and fulfill your duties in the Spirit Center, etc., where is God there? Where is God there? That thermometer tells us where we are in regards to building this inner thermometer. Where is God for you? Carol Correa is saying she's feeling God. Thank you. Hello, Sylvia. And hello, friends who are there. And if we can't see you, forgive us, okay? But that's the thermometer. Where is God there? Oh, but you know, Vanessa, I feel like XYZ people are evil. So then ask, where's God there? When we are able to see God everywhere and feel it, we have built the sanctuary for divine determinations. When we're able to constantly see God in everyone and everything, and this is not a la-la land, it's actually a true conversation we need to have to achieve what Brother Jacob is asking us. The thermometer of God. Where is God here? So tomorrow when you wake up, go do grocery shopping. Don't be afraid. Where is God here? I know nowadays there are many terror attacks happening around the world. Many barbaric events. People in concerts being killed. Children. People go to restaurants and get killed. They are walking over the London Bridge, they get killed. And you may be thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to leave my home anymore because everywhere is dangerous. Ask, where is God? God is everywhere. So contribute with God. Everywhere you go, be the bridge. To whom? To the good spirits. As our dear Carol Correa today at the meeting we had at the Spirit Side of Virginia, she was reminding us of a beautiful study that was done on the book Sex and Destiny at Kardec Radio with Fran and Mackenzie Mello, Francisca Kranz and Mackenzie Mello, in which they read a passage when the spirit mentors, Andre Luis, Pedro Neves, and others, are walking in the streets trying to find somebody incarnated who can help, who is able to help them, to help Marita, the girl who was completely lost in the streets, out of her mind. They couldn't find anyone. They found one pharmacist who was a spiritist. But you and I need to ask, am I a bridge to the good spirits? I will only be if I am this bridge of God. If you see God in everyone, if you trust God in everything, then no fear will conquer your heart. You'll be open to being the bridge, being the aid, wherever you are. So Brother Jacob tells us, how many days did we spend cleansing, readjusting, enlightening ourselves? Did you observe what he said? It's the 3 movements of the soul. They need to be done just like we do for the physical body. The physical body needs hygiene, cleaning. It needs nourishment, right? And it needs exercise. 3, we spirits also need. We also need the cleansing daily. No, these thoughts don't serve me anymore. Those feelings don't serve me anymore. I'm done. And readjusting. I need to exercise my soul and say, no. This attitude's not working. This attitude of defiance, of challenge is not good. What I need is a more meek, peacemaking attitude in life. So vibrating to the world, I love and appreciate you as much as I love and appreciate myself. I don't want a power struggle with you, the world. I want you to feel at peace, and I want to be at peace. So I look at others with the eyes of peacemaking instead of with the eyes of being a stranger. And finally, enlightenment. It's the food. Yeah, drinking water and eating properly. Not simple, but spiritually vital. That's why Kardec Radio is here 24 hours. Helping us enlighten ourselves. Helping us boost the best in us. Because what we're seeing at Kardec Radio is not ours. I am just a parrot. Vanessa the parrot. Blip, 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 blip. Talking about these messages I didn't create. The illuminated spirits came and we're just saying, guys, let us read this. Let us see what they said. And let us readjust ourselves. Let us illuminate ourselves. Let us make sure we cleanse ourselves. Finally, a message to you, Spiritist. Oh, my friends in Spiritism, says Brother Jacob, that we love so much. Are you feeling his love? Yes. Thank you, Brother Jacob. It is for you, members of the large family that I have longed to serve, that I wrote these pages. With no presumption to convince, do not believe yourselves to be settled with the law only because of fulfillment of little obligations of human solidarity, nor feel qualified to paradise for receiving the manifested protection of a spiritual friend. So how often we go there, give passes, we give talks, like, you know what, I'm doing so much, I bet when I discarnate, things are going to be just like that. He's saying, it's not like that. Sorry. No, but we're not sorry. He loves us. He's telling you and I that life needs to be adjusted. Are you ready to adjust? What is the first thing you think of making a big transformation inside? Milestones for the spirit. We would like you and I to think of milestones, millennial milestones. You know, when you have children, babies, we talk about milestones. Oh, now they're going to crawl, now they're going to sit, now they're going to walk, now they're going to speak, now they're going to write, blah, blah, blah. And what about the spirit? Milestones for the spirit. What would you like to achieve in 1,000 years from today? 1,000 years. Not necessarily only 1,000 years, but within the next 1,000 years. 1,000 years, I love you for 1,000 more. Right? Think about the feeling of holding on to a goal for 1,000 years. It's imperishable, right? Hello, beautiful Cynthia, how are you? Nelma, how are you? Thank you for your loving presence. What is your milestone? So Brother Jacob tells us, help yourselves, Spiritists. by fulfilling the invitations of the gospel. Spiritism is not only the grace received, it is also the need to spiritualize ourselves to the higher spheres. Right, Rudy, Jupiter would be nice in 1,000 years. We hope, right, Rudy, we wouldn't mess up, because they're quite harmonious there, and we're still very fragile. But that's a goal. But what about the inner? What can we do to achieve that? Become more harmonious, irrespective of the turmoil around us. A good exercise. Breathe in, breathe out, and say, I am harmony. Breathe in, breathe out, I am harmony. Breathe in, breathe out, I am harmony. Affirmations imprint in our brain a new program. I need a new program for my computer. A program where it's written God. That's the software. God. It takes the whole computer. The sanctuary for divine determinations. God. And we'll be selling later at Kardec Radio the software, God. You just install it and it goes. I'm joking. Right? Thank you, Nelma, Andrea, meeting Beethoven. That would be great. But we would like you to think about millennial goals regarding the inner. In 1,000 years, in the next 1,000 years, I want to see myself a peacemaker wherever I am. Goals like this. I want to be an easy forgiver. I want to be a more altruistic person. Altruistic, like, I'm just throwing examples, okay, to you, so we think together. Like in 1,000 years, within 1,000 years, I want to achieve the selflessness that, we see the spirits inside encouraging us to achieve. Finally, Brother Jacob, psychographing in February of 1948, he says, I speak to you today with more extensive experience. After many years in the work of the doctrine, I am recomposing my knowledge. So I won't be the inappropriate companion or the useless servant. Rest assured that the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ is not only a brilliant set of sublime teachings to be commented on in our studies, but the code of celestial wisdom whose regulations we cannot confuse or be confounded with. Right, Felipe? So Christ is not like, it's actually our guided model. So next time somebody says, do you have a personal trainer? Don't say you don't. Oh, I don't because I don't have money. You have the best personal trainer ever. Jesus Christ. Free of charge. All we need to do is pay attention to the teacher. Like the teachers tell Virginia, ears to hear, eyes to see. That's what we need. That's precisely what we need. Jesus is passing by. And what do you do if he's passing by? Go after him. Please, let's go after him. The code of celestial wisdom, right? code of celestial wisdom. Right, Rihanna, always coming back to the earth to help others progressing. If we love God, we'll work for them out of love and not for ourselves. Precisely. So, you have a personal trainer. When you wake up in the morning, hear his invitation. Come with me. I'll be with you. He'll be with you, working with you, just like he did with Peter and others. Peter and James and Bartholomew. He was fishing with them during the day and gathering together during the evenings. Why do you think Jesus wouldn't do the same? Wherever you go, let him lead the way. Let him show you the way. And Brother Jacob wraps up his introduction by saying, I thank from the heart the collaboration of Emmanuel and Andre Luis in these humble recordings of my spiritual recovery, in these pages that I addressed to the brothers of Ideal and Service. So Brother Jacob literally wrote this book to you and I. And it wasn't easy. He spent quite some time waiting to adjust to the medium Chico Xavier, and he wasn't happy. He thought he was going to come and ride through Chico Xavier right away, and that didn't happen. And asking Jesus to give us all the strength in the work we have been led to, in order to understand beyond us the blessings that sanctify us, I also pray for myself, so that the divine light may enlighten me within the new path of work and elevation, because if the experience on the flesh matures and passes, life proceeds and the work continues. How are you feeling, dear friend? You want to join us in this journey with Brother Jacob? Frederico Figner is inviting us tonight to a journey with him, 21 days, to our deeper spiritual awakening. And let us begin it by revisiting our inner sanctuary for divine determinations. Where is God? Where is God? Where is God? If the answer is God is with everyone and everywhere, we're doing great. We just need to feel it. Exciting? Excited? Yes? Yes, me too. It is a blessing to be with you. And we are going to come back in a day, God willing, with the first chapter described by Brother Jacob on his very transition. I'm going to show you drawings that were done by a special project in Brazil that make us visualize what he's describing, and you're going to feel it much more easily. For now, if you're going to sleep, let us continue the studies in the spiritual realm. If you are just beginning your day, like our beautiful Rihanna and others, or listening on demand, go on with your day and ask around, where is God? Let me feel you, God, in everyone and in everywhere. So be it. Thank you, friends.